Money isn't real. Doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode of the Ruckus with Alex Himes. Today, I'm excited to do an interview with someone that I've been watching very closely on social media. This is a big influencer who's started his own page from the ground up, making waves on the scene, and that is Brett Marquardt. All right. So just to give some background for those who don't know who Brett is the founder, runner, owner of the Instagram channel Basketball Studios. Basketball Studios posts tons of up-to-date content regarding the NBA scene very quickly, very efficiently, and it's some of the nicest, cleanest, sleekest stuff I've seen, as you can see on the screen right now. Brett has done a phenomenal job growing this from the ground up. So let me ask you something first off, Brett. We want to get to know you a little bit. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself and who you are.
3 years ago, I think it's February 20th or February 21st of 2016. I was 14 years old. Right now I'm 17. I was 5'2" at the time. Now I'm 6 foot. But whenever I was like 5'2", 5 feet tall, I realized I was not going to the NBA. So I needed another way to express my love for basketball. And I was like, I'm going to just test out to see what it's like to make graphics and what it's like to make some, highlight videos with music behind it. And then I kind of just like fell in love with the whole entire media aspect of it. And I didn't know like Instagram could be so powerful at the same time too. Like I didn't know that like you could really build something off of just a username and password, which I think is crazy to think of it now. But that's pretty much how I got started.
That's wild. 3 years ago you started this channel, you said, right?
Yeah.
In a 3-year time, where are you now in terms of followers?
So I'm at 49.2K, 49,200. I should be hitting 50K, sometime maybe within the next month. I'm not sure.
Damn.
But I think that'd be awesome to hit 50K on the anniversary date of 3 years. That might actually happen. I didn't think of that until now, but that could definitely be a possibility. But yeah, 49.2 right now, kind of just seeing where it takes me.
People, let me make something very clear. The power of social media, the power of the internet is literally being shown in its fullest form right here by this man. He has started it from the ground up, done everything himself, and look what he's achieved, all right? Like, don't get me wrong. I try and consider myself someone that's not an expert, but knows kind of what they're doing, studying the behind-the-scenes stuff, but you are literally the prime example of what people can be doing. Honestly, you are the example of what Gary Vee talks about how people can take advantage of the internet, take advantage of what's right in front of them. So, like, before we continue, I just want to say congrats on that because you've done a phenomenal job, like enough to where I go out of my way every day to check out your page, see the content. I sometimes get my news from that. So it says a lot when you are a preferred source of people. And I hope that this keeps on going. Now, for Basketball Studios and how you started the page, you gave us the background, you gave us the story. So what has it given you in terms of your interest and career path? Where do you see yourself going with this?
I don't really have like a set like vision. Like I don't have like an end goal. I kind of just want to see where it takes me. Just keep doing what I'm doing, and I always find ways to improve, obviously. But like, kind of just say. I think a lot of social media, if you guys are trying to start out, is getting connections or just knowing as many people as possible. If you're on social media, I mean, look at the name. It's social media, social. Like you're supposed to get yourself out there, and you're supposed to talk to different people, and you never know like. It's crazy to think that like there's a lot of older people that have such a huge stigma on social media, yet at the same time, I'm talking to somebody that's halfway across the country from me doing a basketball podcast, and we're both trying to grow off of it. Like just the power of social media. I just think new opportunities come whenever you least expect it. I can definitely say that for myself. Like you never know when there's another opportunity to go grab. Like you just kind of have to let it come to you.
I couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. Like we talked before actually starting this about, doing some collaborations in the future because you mentioned you might actually be out in my neck of the woods. But I mean, it just goes to show social media really does create this network beyond the in-person side of things. And it's just allowing so many people on top of the interactions that you have daily to make these crazy connections with people you would otherwise never, ever see. Like I'm 23 years old in Los Angeles. I went to school, of course, in Lexington, but you're all the way on the other side of the country, like you mentioned. And here we are still having these discussions. Like it's phenomenal for me to see that we have this ability and that things that are common interests like basketball happen to be something that have brought us together at this table or over the phone and doing this interview.
And I also think with kind of going with the whole power of social media thing, like, I met up with two people in New York. You guys might know Elliot Buster that run Hoops Nation and Dunk. Like, 10 years ago, if I said that I was going to go meet up with people halfway across the country to some random person, they'd be like, dude, like, you know, that might be kind of dangerous, but whatever. But like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
almost a norm in today's world. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, our parents used to be like, don't talk to people on the internet. Like my mom would throw a fit every time my sister went on AIM when it first came out back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, because you didn't know who you were talking to or communicating with. And here we are now where it's almost a necessity for business and for, you know, creating content, which in a sense is business, to continue that and to thrive and actually grow it.
Right. I mean, it goes down to the DM.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No, DMs are the key to getting connections. Like, that's how we reached out to each other for the podcast. That's how you reach out to anybody to collab. Like, that's another tip, guys. If you guys are trying to get connections, DM whoever your idol is. You never know who's going to respond, who's going to give you a new opportunity. So
then let me ask you this. If you could give 3 tips to the audience, what would they be?
To like grow a social media?
Yes, to grow their content and
right.
grow their channels.
Well, for one, just know that like I have 49K in 3 years, but like at the same time, there's some accounts that have gotten 500K in 1 year. But you also have to think like it's a long-term game. So don't think of it as a short-term, like, oh, for a month I'm going to see if I can get 1 million followers. Like, you have to be patient with it. It's all a patience game. And number 2, in today's world with social media, is so saturated, which means there's so many basketball accounts. There's so many Instagram accounts that people are following right now. If you're going to make one right now, you really have to separate yourself from everybody else. Where, say, in 2014, it wasn't so hard to be separating yourself from other people because not everybody was doing it. But now in 2019, everybody has a basketball account. Everybody has a voice. So how are you going to be different from everybody else? And 3, I think, like, kind of like I said with the whole connection thing, DM people, talk. Like, it's social media. Like, reach out to people. You never know if this person could be your best friend if you DM them another Instagram account.
It says social in the name.
Are amazing. Yeah, right. Social media. Don't tuck away and hide in a shell on social media if you're really trying to get somewhere. DM people. Meet up with people, you know, obviously if it's safe, blah, blah, blah. But I think now it's very easy to see if somebody's a reputable person on social media.
Yeah, like, you can just stalk their account a little bit like everyone does, especially with the people they meet off Tinder.
Right. Like, just get yourself out there. So I think that's like the best 3 things. And then there's obviously the whole metrics and stuff behind it. That's like post every day, post at the right time, captions, blah, blah. But in order to actually like make it a long-term thing, I think those three tips are key.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the 3 tips from the man behind Basketball Studios. Go check out Basketball Studios, one of the best pages on Instagram to get your NBA news, catch updates, and just great content overall. Brett, thank you for making an appearance on today's show, man. It's been fun causing a ruckus with you.
I appreciate you having me.
Money isn't real. Doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.